Molly, the new engine, sat patiently in the yard. She was waiting to collect her empty trucks to deliver to the coaling plant. Just then, Emily arrived to collect some coaches. Good morning.
Pulling empty trucks again, I see. What a waste. There's clearly no reason for you being here if that's all you do. Why don't you go back to the mainland and leave us all to do the actual deliveries?
This made Molly very upset. Presently, Emily had found her coaches and was ready to go to the station.
I'm sorry, I can't stay and chat. I have more important work to do, unlike you. Goodbye.
And Emily chuffed arrogantly away. Molly was very sad. Soon her trucks had been prepared, but Molly wouldn't budge.
Sure I will, Molly.
Someone else can take the train. The engines will laugh at and bully me for pulling empty trucks. I don't want anyone else to see me with them.
That may be so, but the Fat Controller will be cross if we don't move soon.
I don't care. Whatever he has to say can't be as bad as what the other engines would say to me. Molly's driver tried all he could, but her mind was made up. Eventually, Henry had to come to take the trucks instead. He didn't like that at all. Shortly afterwards, the Fat Controller had arrived, and was, indeed, cross.
Engines on my railway work hard and do whatever is asked of them. Is that clear?
But sir, Emily was horrid to me this morning, and everyone laughs at my empty trucks. They say I don't have a reason to be on Sodor and that I'm a waste.
Nonsense, Molly. You should know that that's rubbish. Pulling empty trucks to the coaling plants is essential. Without the coal deliveries, my engines cannot run. If you cannot perform that simple but important task, I shall have to send you back to the mainland.
And the Fat Controller sternly walked away. Molly still wasn't sure, but he knew the Fat Controller wasn't a man who'd make empty threats. Later on, two engines Molly had never seen before arrived at the yard.
Och, what a mess. I know, Dougie. Who arranged this yard? It looks like the aftermath of a Burns night party. Hold your wish. There's a wee lassie over there. She looks upset. Aye, we'd better see what's wrong.
Donald and Douglas parked on each side of Molly. Who are you?
Donald and Dougie, we're pleased to make your acquaintance. Now, what's wrong, lassie?
I deliver empty trucks to the coaling plant, and all the engines laugh and pick on me, especially Emily. And she told Donald and Douglas what Emily had said, and about the Fat Controller.
Ah, we know Emily. She's a total Donald! Not in front of the young engines. Sorry. If we may offer some friendly advice, lassie, stand up for yourself.
Sorry?
Next time someone is rude to you, don't just sit around and mope. That's what leads to trouble. Make it clear that you're not going to take that treatment. Aye, if we may, you strike us as an engine with low self-esteem. But the only way to show Emily who's boss is to believe in yourself and tell her how important your job truly is.
You're right. That's what I'll do.
That's the spirit. Let's face it, none of us would run if it weren't for coal. We, for one, well, two, yes, are very grateful for your empty trucks.
Molly smiled. You've both cheered me up. Thank you very much.
No bother. You'd better get back to work before the Fat Controller gets really angry. Trust me, we've seen him at his worst.
I will. Thank you again. And Donald and Douglas puffed away. Molly knew that every word of their advice had been correct. And once her next train of empty trucks was ready, she wasted no time and set off with her newfound self-confidence. Soon, she arrived at the coaling plant, where Emily and the Fat Controller were waiting.
Very good, Molly. I knew you wouldn't let me down. Despite your silliness this morning, you are still a really useful engine.
Thank you, sir. Once the Fat Controller had left to talk to the manager, Emily spoke up.
You're not really useful. You're really useless. Any engine can pull empty trucks, and every job is more important.
No!
Excuse me?
You're wrong, Emily. My job is very important. Without it, none of you would get your coal and wouldn't be able to do any of your important jobs. I refuse to let your words get to me anymore, and nothing you can possibly say will ruin my good mood.
I shall not be spoken to like...
But Molly had already puffed away. However, the Fat Controller had overheard.
Well, I never. I certainly didn't expect such rudeness from you, Emily. And I can't understand why you'd be so cruel to an engine doing you all such a big favour. Your vile behaviour caused a large delay in the coal delivery this morning. And when you next see her, I expect you to deeply apologise to Molly. Understood?
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
shall go to your shed at once and reflect on your dreadful behaviour.
Emily puffed sadly away. She felt very ashamed. Molly had barely heard the conversation, but she had heard enough, and she was proud to have finally stood up for herself.